Hi, I'm Kate, I'm from Leeds in the UK, and I lost my sense of taste and sense of smell in March when I had COVID-19, and now, was it 7 months later, I am suffering from parosmia. So that was my first symptom of COVID-19. I noticed that I couldn't taste anything. Basically, I was over salting all the meals because the salt was the only thing that I could taste. And it was around the time that they first started to say that that was an early symptom of COVID-19. I then went on to be ill for around a week. I spent the week in bed. I was very, very tired, had no energy at all, felt quite kind of sick. A little bit of burning at the top of my lungs, but that was about it. Didn't end up in hospital, no kind of sort of terrible consequences from that, apart from my taste and smell have not come back. So I continued to have anosmia for probably a couple of months, and then started to find that I could smell certain things faintly, taste things, most things faintly, a few things fully, and obviously at that point really hoped that I was going to get my senses back completely. So that went on kind of through the summer, and then I was reading about people having this COVID smell, this awful smell that they couldn't get rid of, and I had a little inkling of that. Certain foods had a taste to them, a weird taste that wasn't their real taste. I made a comment to my husband that we'd been getting recipe boxes and that they all had a taste to them, and was there something in these recipe boxes or the recipes we were picking that was making all this food taste the same? And he just looked at me as if I was totally crazy. And obviously later on I realised that what I was tasting was the COVID taste, the parosmia, the beginnings of parosmia on the onions which were in all the dishes that we'd chosen from the recipe box. So as things went on, I through the summer, towards the end of the summer, it started to get slightly worse. I started to get a perfume taste on certain things, citrusy things largely. Then the awful rotten taste, the onions taste that I had been able to detect very faintly, started to become stronger and stronger. And I also ended up with a kind of ashy kind of flavour on some foods. So I basically, from probably around July, I would say, had a fairly normal diet, ate pretty much everything, and then we fast forward to now, and I'm largely existing on a few vegetables, processed white carbs, anything that's very sweet because that covers up most of the flavours, and that's about it. So what really struck me when I was researching this, trying to understand what was going on, what could I do about it, what could I eat, what would make it better, what would make it worse, was there was very little information out there. Previously, when I was pregnant, I had really, really bad morning sickness. I call it morning sickness. It didn't stop for 8 months. And with that, hyperosmia, which is where your sense of smell is extremely heightened. And I did have a touch of parosmia going on, which I wasn't really knowledgeable about at the time. But looking back, certainly there were scents and tastes that were not how they would normally smell and taste. And while I was going through that, there was lots of information out there from all different sources about what you could do, how you could make things better, how you could find relief, what you could try, and a real sense of support. Then, fast forwarding a few years, my husband had some real issues with his diet, and after a lot of research we found the FODMAP diet. So again, I learnt to cook in a completely new way. We had to do the exclusion diet, which is really, really strict. So no garlic, no onion, lots of other things that you can't have on that diet. And again, there was a lot of support out there. There's a lot of videos on YouTube, there's a lot of books, there's a lot of blogs, which were really, really helpful to me when I was trying to find new recipes and understanding how this new way of eating would help and how it would affect us and things. Now, the exclusion FODMAP diet, you only stay on it for a short amount of time. So we've moved away from that over the years, and he's largely okay now. Although we still don't eat garlic as a household, which is one of the reasons why I didn't pick up on that being a real trigger for parosmia for quite a long time. But when I started to look for that same content, that same support with the parosmia, there's nothing, there's hardly anything there. And I think from looking into it, it seems that it's because although it happened to people, it was so rare that there isn't the amount of lived experience, I guess, as there is of the other two kind of experiences that I've been through. Now, obviously, the advent of COVID-19 and that being one of the main symptoms, the symptom that a lot of people experience, and the Phantosmia and the Parosmia phases that a lot of people go through, it seemed like there really needs to be some of the people that have been through this putting their experiences out there to try and help people through it, because it was a really, it is, I'm still in it, it's a really unpleasant, unsettling thing to have to deal with. I've always had a very sensitive sense of smell, and I have virtually nothing, and they're a sense that I look forward to every year. The smell of lime blossom, the mock orange in my front garden, can't smell those, haven't been able to smell those this year. It's like I've lost one of my seasonal markers on my sort of passage through time, if you like. I'm really not looking forward to Christmas without some of the sort of seasonal scents that you get at that time of year. So I decided to try and put something together to try to help other people that are going through this. So I hope that sharing some of my experiences on this channel will help you. So give me a follow, and hopefully you will get some information from some of the other videos that I put up. So just to be clear, I am not a medical professional, don't have any qualifications in anything to do with any of this, and I'm literally just giving you my own experiences. The charity Absent, who can be found on Facebook and online, have a massive information that's really, really helpful, and certainly has been one of my main sources of information about this this condition. So I would recommend that you go and have a look at them if you haven't already, and you'll find the links in the comments below.